This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our supreme and master speakers, Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Circuit Barrakill, Remy Asalia, Arcadia Lunashine, Alex Franco AV, Casey Schaefer, Azuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimstarter, Nat Clay, Lily Black, AJ Brainswordson, Bob CC, Mikta Rappentau, Faris Gentoru, Saba Chakwatol, Edwin, Umbral Wind, Quick Levin, Winebow Brood, Pamela Isley, Camille Grino, Face on Masher, Elenriel Maximus, Code Red No, Mira Miri, Bay Barbale, Suno Chicano, Celesto Notrell, Lazy Boy, A Bag of Dragonite, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Storm Arrow, Tex, and Yowie Wowie. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Aorcians. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 249. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by
Hey.
We are not in a spoiler segment right now. I forgot to turn that off from last week. Let's revert that. It is episode 249. I'm joined by Georgi Wiston, Rollo Des. Hello. It is June. God, I can't believe it's June. June 5th, 2021. We have officially entered summer here in the north. I'm assuming you're on your way to winter in the in the wrong side of the world.
Summer sucks. I'm tired of this shit.
It is winter. Is it already winter?
Yeah. It is very, very hot up here. It's, well, I mean, I should not complain living where I am, all the way up here, where I get flustered when it's 22 degrees Celsius. Anyways, happy June, everyone. This episode will be going through Zadnor, the story, the system, and our final thoughts on what is now been concluded in Shadowbringers with an asterisk. We'll get to that in the review. And we'll also be reading a interview with Yoshi-P by IGN. So it's one of their big interviews, so we of course have to cover that. We will also read MogMail today, so don't worry. We will read MogMail even if it means post-show will be a little delayed. So don't worry about that. Okay, so speaking of, stay tuned for the post-show. We'll be reading questions from the Syndicate. And that's that. That's the post-show. You know how the post-show works. In a quick channel update, E3 is coming up. We will be covering the Sunday portion, the Square Enix presentation, specifically. That's on Sunday, 9:15 p.m. Central European Time, 8:15 BST, 3:15 Eastern. So make sure you catch that. We'll probably be live. We'll be live. We'll most likely be live normal Sunday Funday time, but we'll probably not play Resident Evil. Unfortunately, we'll probably just either hang out in 14 or something. We're still planning that. It's a bit early yet, but yeah, in 2 weeks, we'll be covering the Square Enix presentation. All right, that is it. Let's jump into recent events. I really need to put... I don't have a button for recent events intro on my Stream Deck. I probably should have that by now. So, Final Fantasy XIV is on sale. 60% off. Started on May. So, I'm gonna address this because if you watched last week's episode, you know what? Last week's episode was
We finally talk about the cup live on air.
last episode. The chat was behind the live chat overlay, so it was like really annoying because it was like very difficult to read, and that was because we changed the position of the cup so that it would be more directly below Georgi. I know it is heresy to acknowledge the cup on air, but I'll make an exception for now. Because every time we load this overlay, it reloads the cup, the whole overlay, and then all the tomes come crashing down. And now they're going to pass directly on top of Georgi's face. So we hid it behind our frames, but that unfortunately also hid everything else. Not even like even the lower bar, which has the subscribers and cheers, disappeared. It's like all behind. So I'm sorry. So you're gonna see some tomes falling in front of
Yeah, make
So-
sure to lick them before they fall, Georgi.
yeah. Here they go. There it is. Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh.
Georgi did the funny off air where he was trying to eat them or lick. You did. It was. Cursed.
Yeah, I did lick them.
Yeah. Anyways, getting back to recent events, there's a big sale for Final Fantasy XIV for Windows, Mac, PS4, and PS5. Started on May 25th. It ends on June 9th, so it's nearing the end already. It's 60% off. 60%. So if you're currently playing the free trial version of Windows, you will also be able to purchase the complete edition with a 60% discount from the MOG station. So that's... I mean, if you're on the free trial and you obviously like the game, because there's no situation where you play the free trial and you don't like the game. So you play the trial, you obviously want to buy the game, 60% off right now. Strike now. You can get the complete edition. Usually, normally $60 or $59.99. You can now get it for $23.99 US. Shadowbringers Collector's Edition, digital. This is the digital download. $60, $23.99, and the standard edition you can get for only $15.99, down from $39.99. So that's a good deal. There you go. By the time this episode is out, I would assume you only have a day or two. YouTube.
Get on it right now.
You better hurry.
Buy it
Hurry
for
up.
your friends. Get it for your lovers.
Yeah.
Your enemies. Your frenemies.
If you are watching this and you don't have the full game, you probably are wanting to buy the full game.
Yes. So there you go. Okay. So on June 2nd, the game.
A Wednesday.
Yeah, the game suddenly just went into emergency maintenance. For a long time, it was going to. It had the standard time. I think it's usually like 3 hours, like 6 a.m. No, it's like 6 to 11. I don't remember. It didn't raise any big flags. I was like, okay, there's an emergency maintenance. Fine, it happens. But then it was like extended by an hour, which has happened multiple times now. They're like, oh shit, we need more time on this. Anyways, we got the hotfixes, the list here now. The following adjustments have been made. In the following content, players will be granted invulnerability for a certain period of time upon being moved immediately into a sealed area where the battle has already commenced. The critical engagement, the Battle of Castrum Lacus Littorae in the Bosnian Southern Front, and the critical engagement, the Daladria in Zadnor. Dalriada. Sorry, I can never read it correct. I call it the diarrhea, and I have to fight myself every time. In Zadnor. And Delubrum Reginae. So... that's a weird change. You'll get invulnerable when moving
When you're
to a sealed area.
moving directly to... Yeah, because
you don't die upon
otherwise you could
arrival.
get...
Yeah. You get hit by an AoE.
Yeah.
But how could you move into them if it's already commenced?
Well, you get the box
changes
that's like move immediately to sealed area. You click yes. and there's a second where your character is loaded in, but your screen hasn't faded up, so you can't move.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they meant actually like joining like the castrum or the Dariada.
Oh, right. No, I think
No,
that makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay. Also, an issue in the Bosnian. So these are issues that have been addressed. An issue in the Bosnian Southern Front, wherein progression of Save the Queen quests caused 2 iterations of the Resistance Historian NPC to appear on top of each other. Interesting.
A little bit of mitosis.
Yes. An issue in the critical engagement The Broken Blade in Zadnor, wherein hypertuned Dabog was immobile under certain conditions. Okay.
I haven't seen any of these issues in the game, I'll say that.
No, I have not.
I'm sure it's happened.
In the time that we've spent in Zadnor, I don't think we've ever encountered any of these issues. An issue in the critical engagement, the Dalriada in Zadnor, wherein after the battle area is unlocked upon defeating... This is Salvatore the Inferno, attempting to proceed by using an action in which a player is moved across large distances would incapacitate the player. That sounds like a big problem. So
if you used a lodestone to teleport immediately to the starting camp, you would just wake up dead.
Yeah. That's bad.
That's fun.
An issue.
It's especially bad in a place where you lose something when you die.
Yeah. Yes. Very random, but an issue in the shifting oubliettes of Ligia, wherein the server would crash under certain conditions. That's a bad... Every time there's any condition that will crash a server... do you think that's related in any way to what happened to some servers the past week? Because I know Light
possibly
went down very recently. Interesting. An issue in Amarang wherein the non-interactable object exit to the greater hold was visible, which does not appear under normal circumstances. Exit to the greater hold. Interesting. I wonder why that.
I don't remember what that was. It when after the Thancred instance, like where we have the on the cart. I think that's how you get out. From
maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
So it's like a duty instance thing that showed up in.
I'm sure someone will remind us.
Yeah. Okay, an issue wherein users were unable to toggle Japanese text input. Yoshi-P talked about that in this is the PS5 issues. An issue wherein logging out in certain areas and attempting to log in with the same character resulted in the player being stuck on the loading screen. Those 2 issues fixed. So you can log out in those areas and don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about your character disappearing.
You can live in Rauger's Reach forever now.
Yes. Okay. That's what's happened in recent events. Let's talk Yoshi-P's big interview with IGN. Big interview. What I like about IGN is that their text is very big. Very big text. Works for baby brain like mine. All right. The big interview with Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker director Naoki Yoshida. Naoki Yoshida is known as the man who saved Final Fantasy XIV. As producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, Yoshida oversaw the complete transformation of a game that seemed dead on arrival into one of the most critically acclaimed MMORPGs of all time. While this redemption story will always factor into the telling of Final Fantasy XIV's legend, it's no longer what most fans of the game think about. Instead, all eyes are towards Endwalker, the newest expansion arriving in November this year, which is set to wrap up a nearly decade-long story arc. Okay, this is a bit of a side note, speaking about like the fact that the game's coming to an end and all that. There's a lot, I don't think we've acknowledged this on the podcast, but there's a lot of people jumping from WoW to 14 right now.
Yeah.
I've already ranted about this on a stream, but I just want to... I experienced it again yesterday. So I love watching people play through A Realm Reborn. I think it's fun to see how people who are used to a completely different game that treats their story in a very different way interact with like 14. Because 14's story is like, very... It's good, but we all say A Realm Reborn story is not that great. And that's true compared to everything else. It's not great. Please, let the people play the game. Do not... I was so frustrated yesterday because there's like, okay, I understand you want to help them, but when people like show up around them, like they on like, you know, they're around them, like they fill around, like there's like just a bunch of people in like topless and wearing like the fucking chicken outfit, like it's all, everyone's there, and they're, you know, it's driving people around, but that's, you know what, that's for the streamer to decide if they want to ride with people, and if they want to be, you know, driven around on mounts, that's fine. But the chat, every time there's a cutscene, and this goes with every stream that I've watched, everyone goes, "Oh my god, those voices are horrible." I get it. We know that. The streamer most likely knows that already because you've told them in every cutscene. You don't have to say that these voices are bad every time. And then there's the spoiler edging. For God's sakes, do not do that. I know you're looking forward to moments, but you're literally spoiling it for the person that's playing. Do you not understand? Imagine if you were playing and someone was like, oh, if you meet a person and you're like, oh, you'll definitely like this character down the road. It's like, oh, you fucking asshole. What are you doing? Because now that player is like, oh, I need to remember this person. This person's probably important. Don't do it. You can be nice in chat and you can help them if they ask, you know. And sometimes, you know, if you're playing the game, and I'm sure this is not just a thing. I'm sorry, this is turning into rant hour. I just have to get this out. This is so annoying.
That's okay. Do the soapbox.
So when I forgot what I was saying. Okay, maybe it's fine. Maybe I can just move on. But it's very frustrating. Oh yeah, sorry. Sometimes when the player, you know, learns something about the lore, they will ask questions, right? That doesn't mean you have to answer it. If they go like, so that person is probably that. Don't go, yeah, that's right. Actually, this and that and what. And then you're like, okay, thank you. Spoiled that for me. Thank you very much.
This sounds like you watch a lot of streams.
I do, because I've been editing, and I've thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna, because I know that there's a lot of people joining 14 now, and I see them all the time when I'm like, you know, editing. So it was every time, and I'm like, oh, and I kind of do it now just to see if I can see if there's a pattern, and it's the same pattern in every fucking stream. So calm down. You don't have to tell. When you watch a stream of someone playing 14 and there's a voiced cutscene and you go, oh, I forgot how bad the voices were. You don't have to say that in chat because that's already been said by 1,000 people before you. It's getting old, all right? Okay. Yeah, some people, I did watch a couple of streams that they just had emotes only on, and that was a good choice.
I have two things to say about that. One, some people wouldn't care about spoilers. They'll normally say that, though. And two, the people that need to hear this are not watching this.
I know.
You don't know that.
Well, maybe they'll stumble upon it. Maybe they'll be like, maybe someone clips this. And they're like, these people don't like when people spoil in chat. Okay. Right. What I'm saying, no, I'm specifically saying that this is people where the player is literally going, don't spoil chat, and chat's like, oops, sorry, and then like, I didn't mean to, actually this is not a spoiler, like I'm trying to like defend themselves, like, oh, fuck off. All right, anyways, I'm coming back in now.
Yeah, work your way back.
We're a nice community. That's not what I'm not saying that this is bad. It's just we're trying to be, we love watching new players play the game so much that we kind of ruin it sometimes. So think about that. Okay. Right. Back to the interview. IGN spoke with Yoshida after the annual Final Fantasy Fan Fest, and in a nearly hour-long... Oh yeah, it says annual. It's... okay. Wrong. And in a nearly hour-long conversation, we learned why it's easier than ever to get started with Final Fantasy XIV, as well as what enhancements players who started the game on PlayStation 5 will see over the past console versions. Have you played the free trial? Oh, huh? Oh, they're referencing the meme?
It's a yes.
Have you played the free trial of Final Fantasy XIV? With every expansion, the chorus around Square Enix's MMORPG grows stronger, and with such a seismic expansion on the horizon, there's never been a better time to jump in. There's a popular meme about how Final Fantasy XIV acolytes will convince friends to pick up the game because the free trial now includes all the content up the critically acclaimed expansion Heavensward. But anyone who's seen the No-Clip documentary on Final Fantasy XIV knows the MMO was designed for both players who enjoy MMORPGs as well as fans who might enjoy single-player Final Fantasy games. I mentioned this with every expansion, but we would love to have everybody play Final Fantasy XIV from the beginning, from A Realm Reborn, Yoshida says. As long as you are focusing on going through the main scenario quests, you should be able to relatively smoothly level your character and obtain the necessary gear that you need to progress through the story. That's another thing, because I've watched so many people play through A Realm Reborn. Well, I make it sound like I've watched a lot. I've maybe watched 3 or 4 people. But the A Realm Reborn, even after the reduction, it's still a little rough. There's a lot of talking when they shouldn't. You know, there's a lot of empty word, like, sentences. They're like... So here's an example. Minfilia goes... you should go bring this crystal. And then suddenly cut to Thancred. Yes, you should. Cut to Papalimo. Yes, I agree. And Ida goes, yes, I agree. Like, there's a lot of that, and it's just these awkward pauses. I don't know. I don't know if they can fix it anymore, but there's a lot of that. Okay.
I mean, I don't think they changed any of the voice cutscenes, unfortunately.
They should have. I mean, as much as I hate people going... Oh, I forgot how bad the voices are. I mean, they're right. The voice actors, except for, like, you know, Merlweb? She's pretty good in A Realm Reborn compared to, like, all the others.
I think Merlweb, I think Y'shtola, and I think Urianger are all fine.
Yeah, Urianger is fine, but you'd be... If you go back and listen to Urianger in A Realm Reborn, he speaks very slowly. Like, he's very slow. Yeah, so there you go. Okay. Yoshida compares playing through A Realm Reborn and its subsequent expansions, which currently includes Heavensward, Stormblood, and Shadowbringers, to binge-watching a TV drama. Every interview...
Can't escape the TV. Reset
interview.
The clock.
We do our best to make it as stress-free as possible for players to get through from the beginning to the latest content, Yoshida explains, adding that he thinks catching up on Final Fantasy XIV is easier than trying to watch all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones in one sitting.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily... If you're doing the Final Fantasy XIV thing in one sitting... I don't think either of them is easy.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So
who's catching up with Game of Thrones?
A lot of people probably do that. Yeah.
Spoilers. It's bad from the start. There you go.
That is the hottest, worst take I have ever heard. Rollout. There's a reason Game of Thrones is one of the biggest TV shows in recent history.
Listen, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good.
That's true. That's true. There's a lot of shows that are very popular that I disagree in terms of quality. Yeah.
Friends.
Okay. Be quiet.
Okay, I disagree with you there.
I've never seen Friends. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Developing Endwalker's 2 new classes. Endwalker will introduce 2 new playable classes, as is now customary for every new expansion. For the next chapter, the 2 new classes are the damage-dealing Reaper and the healer class Sage. The Reaper class is a melee DPS class that wields a large scythe and can summon a dark avatar or spirit to help them deal damage, while the Sage class uses flying machines to heal allies and attack enemies. According to Yoshida, discussions about new classes typically start with the weapons each class will use, as that equipment directly ties into the gameplay experience. A scythe was something players have been requesting for some time, and from that request, the developers came up with a Reaper class fairly easily. There was a lot of fan feedback about a character that can wield a scythe, a very large scythe, in the North America and Europe regions, and they were excited for something like that for a number of years, actually, Yoshida reveals, so the idea for the Reaper was developed pretty smoothly, I think. North America and Europe wanted the Scythe Wielder class, apparently.
Scythe, like, Grim Reapers are not like conceptually are different in Japan, so I can understand that.
They know what a Scythe Wielding class is, though. They had it as Dark Knight.
They know what a Scythe Wielding class, but they might not have the same, like, societal intrigue in that idea.
Yeah, I always thought the reason people wanted the Scythe Wielder was because of 11, because of 11's Dark Knight. There was a lot of disappointment when Dark Knight came out and it didn't have a scythe. So, yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I don't know. One class suggestions from the community for a new healer was Alchemist, which proved harder to conceptualize. First of all, because we already have Alchemist. Kind of have it. I think this might be a mistranslation, might be Chemist. So, because Chemist, we know. I mean, I always wanted a Chemist. We were having to rack our brains on the Sage idea, Yoshida explains. Of course, there were ideas about, like, bring over Alchemist and things like Chemist and things like that. And then we thought about, okay, so what if we used Chemist? What kind of weapon would they wield? Initial ideas involved some kind of medical kit, but Yoshida says having such a science-based weapon for a magic wielder would be weird. The developers also thought having a class that throws potions at people was very difficult to fit into the battle systems.
Yeah, that's funny because that is stuff we talked about it. Like, yeah, they should throw like potions at people and shit.
Didn't really think about how that would work.
Rejected. We're not good at this.
Yeah. Instead, the developers started with a blank slate for the healer role. Ideating? How do you say that? Ideating? I've never seen that word in my life.
Ideating, yeah.
Ideating different weapons. Someone on the team suggested floating orbs players can wield, which then shifted into projectiles or healing missiles. Healing missiles. This eventually led to the Sage's flying weapons, which opened up new gameplay mechanics and visual experiences. When these floating weapons sheathe, they also sheathe into the player's back, which looks very sci-fi but still very magical, perfect for Final Fantasy XIV's aesthetic. All in all, Yoshida says development for the Reaper class took about 3 months from conception to fleshing out, while development of Sage took half a year.
I believe that by looking at it.
Yeah.
Not to say that Reaper is like boring, but like you look at it and you get it.
Yeah.
like Sage is definitely a bit more unique.
I think they may have spent the extra. I think it might have been even faster to develop Reaper if they didn't choose to add the avatar to it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. The Reaper class sort of makes itself when you you have the weapon. Okay, so Final Fantasy XIV receives a huge boost from PS5. Final Fantasy XIV, so it's already been released on the PS5, and PS5 players will find the experience will be far improved on Sony's newest console. Well, there's been some speed bumps. With the PS5, one of the key features of it, and especially since Final Fantasy XIV is an MMO, the rendering of multiple characters on screen, literally hundreds of characters being on screen, being able to render all that quickly is definitely a plus. The memory required to process that many characters each, with their own unique outfits and gear, is immense, but the PlayStation 5 can render everything quickly, all without dropping frame rate or resolution. This is apparently disputed quite heavily by PS5 players. I have seen there are some optimization issues. It's not because the PS5 isn't able to do it, but the 14 doesn't seem like it has been as well optimized yet as we first thought. I've seen some examples of some pretty choppy frame rates in certain areas. But I'm sure that's something, those are kinks that they can work out. The PS5 is definitely strong enough to deal with that. The PS5 hardware does have a very high capability in terms of machine power, plus their input-output is very special as well. A lot of loading is very quick, so I think one of the biggest features of the PS5 version is that you can play very comfortably.
What does that mean?
It's this. What this means, Georgi, is nothing. This is Yoshi-P answer with no meaning. Let me just read that last line again, everyone. So I think one of the biggest features of the PS5 version is that you can play very comfortably.
You can recline, I guess, and play.
Yeah,
but you can't do it with the PS4.
No,
you have to sit awkwardly.
Unique for the PS5 version. This
it's a squat.
Final Fantasy XIV enables crossplay between PlayStation and PC, but PC players have commented that PS4 players would take a longer time to load into an instance, like a dungeon or duty. This is such a fucking flashback to the PS3 era. Like this is the same shit. This problem will be resolved with the PS5 version. Or that's not gonna resolve anything. The PS4 players are still there. Or at the very least, improved significantly, Yoshida says. What do you mean? You have the PS4 is still in the mix. Oh no.
It'll be improved in 2 years when they stop supporting the PS4.
Yeah, which I mean, most people don't even have a PS5 right now. It's very odd.
No, I know. You got 2 more years.
Yeah. You guys fucking put up alerts so you know when the PS5 is for sale, or join one of those fun lotteries where you can like get the privilege of winning a lottery where you can buy the PS5. So bizarre.
Yeah, you
they're like, congratulations, that's $800.
Give us money.
Yeah.
Just get $1,000 bundle from like Costco though. Comes with 3 controllers, 2 PS5 games that you probably don't want.
Rollo,
and the charging base.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
That's what you got?
That's how I got mine, because there was a bundle that just appeared, and I'm like, oh god, this is like $200 more expensive than just the normal one.
Controller's a weird number.
Yeah, I have 2 controllers. It came with 2 controllers and the charging cradle thing, which is fine. I think that's all right, but yeah. All right. Or improved significantly. You wouldn't have an instance where you go into a dungeon and wait for some additional characters to pop up because they're waiting for their load screen to resolve, Yoshida explains. Plus, again, the frame rate has become very stable. You wouldn't have cases where you're going on a mob hunt and PS4 players are missing out on the action because their rendering hasn't caught up or their monster hasn't shown up. That's... I'm a little confused by what he's saying here. So he's now talking about the PS4 version?
I don't know. It sounds like it.
Again, it's so interesting that he brings up the frame, because sometimes Yoshi-P talks about things that turn out to be problems. Do you know what I mean? Like, remember when he talked about like swimming, and he was like oddly specific about there not being any loading screens when you went into the underwater thing, and we kept saying like it's a weird thing to just keep harping on about before we got the game, and then we get the expansion, and then there is a loading screen, like there's a clear like loading point there, and now we know that there are frame rate issues, and he's like, the frame rate's become very stable, guys. You guys,
the best frame rate we ever had.
You have never seen frame rates like this on a console. I don't know why he's bringing up the PS4 players, but maybe he's talking about like how they worked out the frame rate issues on the PS4. Like today, a PS4 player will not miss out on the action because their rendering hasn't caught up or their monsters haven't shown up. So maybe this is like, maybe somewhat addressing the issues on the PS5. I don't know. Final Fantasy XIV actually started life on the PlayStation 3. Well, didn't start its life, but it was intended to start. But players shouldn't be worried about any legacy systems potentially holding the game back for players on the PS5 or high-end PCs. As Yoshida explains.
That's true.
As Yoshida explains, Final Fantasy XIV was designed to be future-proof thanks to its scalability. If, for example, the PlayStation 3 was limited to that 30 characters would render at one time, then the PS4 expands that limit to 50 or 70, and so on as hardware performance improves. This extends to character models as well. Say the physics that are applied to hair, Yoshida posits. The PS3 would only allow for 2 bones to be moved at one time, and those would take priority, whereas PS4 would scale a little bigger, so you can now control 6 bones in the hair. Have you increased it for the PS5? Doesn't say.
How many bones?
How many bones, Yoshi-P? It's getting to a point where Yoshida says the developers may reconsider the amount of memory allocated per character. With the more advanced hardware, I feel that we can start considering expanding the base system, the base limit, so that we can have a more robust way of depicting these character models, from the amount of memory it can carry to the textures, to the boning as well. The boning.
Can I ask why they don't say rigging?
No. You can't ask that. you cannot. It's boning. Furthermore, Yoshida says it's gotten to a point where even the newest smartphone or mobile devices might be able to have the processing power of running 14 at a relatively high quality. Is that a threat? Is that a threat, Yoshi-P?
It's true though. If it was, I think.
Do not bring this to mobile. Do not do this. We already have... No, do not. This is fucked. I'd rather have it on the Switch than on the phone.
No, you wouldn't. It'd be better on a phone. It'd be better on a phone.
Would it be better on a phone, where you have to deal with
would be better on a phone.
2 different platforms? Well, maybe.
If it was a higher end, like, phone, it would be much better.
Yeah, but that's not the thing, though. There's many different phones. You can't just be like, oh, this one only works on the iPhone 12.
I mean, that's why he specifically says the newest smartphone or mobile devices.
Yeah.
None of this. All of them.
None of this. If you bring this fucking game to a smartphone, that's it.
Listen, not Planet Side. Fantasy Star Online 2 did it. We can do it too.
I do not. I do like the idea of having a limited, like with what was the thing on the PSP, or was it the Vita, the companion thing where
gathering.
Yeah, you can do gathering. Maybe have I wish 14 was more tied to your phone, and do not bring up maybe the companion app actually. If they develop the companion app properly, you could have like having Q pops on your phone. Like if you're doing something else, it'll be like ching, and what was that app? This is a grandpa talk, but I remember back in earlier Realm Reborn, there was this app that people used Garland something.
Was
that what it was? Because you could even talk to your Link
Garland
shell.
Tools?
No, not Garland Tools.
No.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
and it would ding
when
you're
dead now.
You're talking about.
Yeah, it's definitely dead. But that was very useful. I remember you could literally talk in your Link shells on your phone, which is I have never seen since. I mean, you can on the companion app, can you? Or is it just no? It's literally just Discord.
It's its own IM system that doesn't tie to the game at all.
Because Guildworks, that's what it was called, and it had like such perfect integration. It showed you your achievements. It showed on your phone, and you could talk to your Link shells. You could talk to your free company, and it would tell you when your duty popped on your phone.
Did they ever say why Guildworks died? Was it just lack of
think
interest?
It's because it was TOS and stuff. Like it wasn't. I think
there's lots of things that are TOS.
Yeah, but I think Guildworks was a bit too intrusive in what it did. Like it was literally reading game data. Like it was very I think that's what happened. So they went to make Discord. Are those the people who made Discord? Because I know that Discord was born out of 14's community. I remember back in the early days, it would have like this little blurb that said something about thank you to 14 people or whatever when you started Discord.
There's a weird amount of 14 integration in Discord I never noticed about. Like the 14, XIDB. Just the actual API for the site just like works in fucking Discord chat.
Yeah, so there you go. I wondered why there's no...
It says right here.
What?
It says the original dev Stanislav started working for Discord and handed guild work over to someone else, but they've done nothing with it. Apparently.
So it
Oh.
just was left to rot.
The site's still up though.
Is it really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I think the installer is still there.
I would not install that now.
You can't install. Never mind. The download link is dead, but the
Okay.
website is still up.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, there you go. Anyways, the long wait. The Endwalker expansion will be released on November 23rd, 2021. Typically, Final Fantasy XIV expansions are released mid to late summer, making the wait for Endwalker one of the longest in-between major content drops for Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV, as with many games in development, was hit hard by the global COVID-19 pandemic, which forced the Square Enix team to switch to work from home and in the process lose 3 months of development time. Before we even started work on the expansion pack, while we were developing the 5.x patch series, is when we hit the pandemic, Yoshida recalls. And as the pandemic hit, Square Enix and the Final Fantasy XIV development team had to switch over to remote work. Oh god, this again. Everybody had to switch to a work-from-home environment, and there was some confusion that happened with the transition. As a result, the developers delayed one of the patches by 3 months, creating a chain reaction that pushed back the entire release schedule. Considering that the previous expansion releases in the July timing, and that we had 3 months of lost time that we account for, then just with the math there, we're already shifted by 3 months. So August, September, October. October would have been the earliest we could have released Endwalker with a 3-month gap that we can't really get back. The developers, since switching to work from home, unfortunately, there is a little bit of loss in productivity per month. Furthermore, Endwalker is the end to the Hydaelyn Zodiark saga, a nearly decade-long storyline set to conclude in the next expansion. Because of this, Yoshida says there's more the developers want to deliver in terms of story content, and he says the amount of cutscenes is about 1.3 times more than normal. What a specific number. The 3-month pushback, productivity loss from work from home, the expanded volume of overall content versus the typical expansion, as well as the need for an additional 4 to 6 weeks of leeway required for bug fixes and quality improvements, all added up to Endwalker being scheduled for late November. This we knew. Not much to add to this. This is known shit. Okay, so conclusion. Better late than never. For anyone curious about trying out Final Fantasy XIV, there's honestly never been a better time. As Yoshida says, the main story quests do a great job of pushing players through the game relatively stress-free, and Yoshida also gave a shout-out to the community for helping new players. The community is really great, and they're really supportive of new players as well, so they do take care of you, Yoshida beams. As for what's after Endwalker, Yoshida told IGN earlier this year that he hasn't decided whether future storylines will be shorter or as long as the Endwalker saga. Yoshida is also serving as producer of the upcoming Final Fantasy XVI, as head of Creative Business Unit 3, a development team of Final Fantasy XI and 14 veterans. But for curious fans who want... Okay, there you go. Yeah, I would say.
This is the best time to join, by the way.
It is. I mean, I don't think anyone watching right now is not playing 14. But if for some reason there are, don't be tempted to jump the MSQ, even if A Realm Reborn is a little rough, because it'll pay off in Shadowbringers. Just stick with the story, and you will be rewarded down the line. Actually, you'll be rewarded by the end of A Realm Reborn as well. You'll be rewarded throughout the all expansions, really. So don't skip any story.
I mean, if you're the kind of person that's not here for the story, or if you want to go straight to the end game content, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think people can enjoy this game without enjoying the story.
We literally had a patch that was only story.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said only for rating. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
We also have the New Game Plus system now as well.
Yeah. But because
that will make it easier to do this.
What you're saying is setting people up for disappointment, because people should know when they join this game expects you to do the story. I mean, we are the only, we are an MMO that forces you to do MSQ to unlock certain things, right? This is it's very different from other MMOs where you don't have to follow the story. You can do anything and you don't even have to know why you're here. You don't even know what the planet you're on is called. You can just do whatever you want, right? That doesn't work here. Like this game is
agree.
It's like a single player RPG with MMO elements.
I have quite a few friends that play this game without paying any attention to the story.
Oh yeah, I know those people exist, but how often do they play? Like, do they feel connected to this world?
I mean, that used to be me. I
mean, they don't feel connected to this world, but that's not necessarily, like, maybe that's not why you're playing this game.
I'm just saying, a majority of people that join this game and that don't care about story will not have a good time here. I don't think that's a hot take. I
don't know if I can agree with that.
Okay, well, that's for you to just. That's your opinion.
But there's no real way for either of us to prove that point.
I think one thing we can say for certain is that Final Fantasy XIV is one of the only MMOs out there right now that has such a fucking long, deep story that it really wants you to do. Like other games can have you don't have to touch MSQ in most other MMOs. They don't even call them MSQs in some instances. Give the story a chance. If you're from an MMO where you've not done story, maybe it's because the story isn't that good. 14 has a very good story, and this game is built around the story. It's literally built. Everything in this game is built around the MSQ. Do the MSQ. That's it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't skip the story.
I want to make a straw man argument. I want to make a straw man argument here, but I'm not going to.
Make the straw man argument. We have time.
Can you explain to me how Lord of the Minion is related to the MSQ?
Oh, don't. That's the worst straw man you could have ever.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Made.
I wasn't going to do it, and then you asked me.
I'm sorry. I was just curious what it was. All right, let's move on. 5.5. We'll continue our spoiler review. We'll move on to Zadnor. Right.
Maybe there are people that want to play the game just for Lord of the Minion. Imagine that.
Imagine I would like to talk to those people. Yeah, those are freaks.
They're absolutely fucking insane, and you know what?
Well,
I'm not having this.
Don't
play the game.
I will support. I will support your straw man kind of by saying that there are people that play 14 almost entirely for mahjong.
That is true.
Yeah. So
yes,
he's a
I know someone.
Yeah.
I know someone. He's fucking insane. He'll be like, "Oh, I feel like playing 14 again. I want to resub." He won't have sub for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just finished Heaven's Sword, by the way.
Okay.
He's been playing for like almost 3 years now.
Oh my god.
And he'll just be like, "Yeah, I feel like resubbing," because I'll be like talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll log in. The first thing he'll do is like, "Okay, I'm gonna play mahjong," and then he'll rope in all my other friends to like, "Oh, let's all play mahjong." And he's play fucking mahjong in Discord for like hours, like throughout the night until 3 a.m. Like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah. 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 So there you go. Anyways, yeah, Zadnor. Well, let's move on. This feels like a great discussion topic that we could have had one day.
Mahjong, yes.
Not mahjong.
No.
No.
Whether you can enjoy this game without the story or not.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Zadnor real quick. It happened. It is over now. Well, for us, anyways, we've completed the story, so Zadnor has ended.
Maybe put up the spoiler
maybe
thing?
I should put up the spoiler thing for this.
I want to get bonked.
There we go. Okay, let's talk about Zadnor. Let's start with the stuff that's not story first. So we can get that out of the way. Let's talk about the zone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's just the general design. We can compare it to Bosnia, I guess. How do you feel about the starting area of Zadnor compared to Bosnia, I guess? Because
define the starting area, like the first whole zone, or just the town.
Let's start with the first zone, area 1, the one that you unlock first, that part, because it's 3 distinct areas. Well, I say distinct. There's three areas that you unlock. The first one is sort of the first. I feel like that's important because it's the first impression when you enter the zone. I would say gray. Very gray.
It's gray.
Yeah.
It's got some cool little nooks and crannies, like little cave system thing in the northeast part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know this is kind of the general area. I really like the little shields that you see get like blasted from time
That's
to time.
very cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk about more about that later, but when we get to it, we can.
Okay. Yeah, that's the world feels there's the airships in the sky as well, which you know how I feel about airships in the sky. It feels very barren, but it's supposed to. It's the same problem I kind of had with Bosnia. Was whereas this area is just all gray, Bosnia was all brown. It's sort of the same thing here, but I do like that you can see the big ship in the distance, and you know that that's the end goal. It's the same with Castrum Lacus Litore. You always see that, right? On the top of the hill. It's like, oh, that's the end goal. There's also the random ground attacks from the ships. So, yeah. There's not much to say about the first zone, really. It's very flat. It's craters.
It's got less trenches. It's more just craters.
Yeah.
I think you see Oboro in that first zone, too.
You can see Oboro in every zone.
Yeah. He
Is
appears
he
in
every zone? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was so crazy. I was like, is that Oboro?
Yeah.
What the fuck is he? I mean, it makes sense for him to be there, but it's just, he's like the only job trainer in there, so it's just...
I mean, Rostic is there as well, who is part of the level 80 Gunbreaker quest.
Yeah. So the second zone is the one that really starts to look a little different. It has some trees in it.
I'd argue it's the only one that looks different.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a buffer zone almost with what's left of plant life and tree life. Other than that, it's very similar still. It's like the same area, but it's got more vegetation.
I think it has more variation than the other two zones.
Yeah.
It's the only one that's not like just a large, just open mass of a field.
Right. Yeah.
There's like nice little, I guess, choke points too, almost, that kind of
to
go certain areas.
Yeah.
They kind of remind me of the choke points from Pagos. But what was it Pagos that have? Yeah, it was Pagos that did the dragon choke point, in the very fucking middle. That was fucking awful.
Yeah.
But
both Pagos and Pyros had choke points like
they
that.
had that. Yeah.
This just seems like a better version of that, like good speed bumps almost.
Yeah. And the third zone, kind of like the first zone again. Barren, but you definitely close up to the ship. That's that. They have some horrible camp names for all three zones.
You don't like Camp Hizmir?
Yeah, I hate that. And also the camps are kind of boring as well. There's like nothing in them. Like other than the starting one, the two other ones are like nothing. Oh, three other ones. Sorry, the last one is just this little. It's just is this big. So you can barely.
Yeah, you're getting little footholds. That's like your little forward base.
Yeah.
I keep making the fucking mistake though. Every time I go to the other two smaller camps, like, cool, let me go here. I'm gonna teleport to the other one. I run into the big fucking crystal pillar thing to teleport.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people have that problem.
Yeah. So I think what we're actually saying here is that Zadnor is a very empty place, right? There's not much going on in it.
Kind of disagree almost.
Really?
I feel like Zadnor feels like really active and almost like lived in, and just there's so much going on. It feels like it's kind of like in a living world kind of thing, because I'm always seeing shit happening. You know what I mean?
I would say I don't think it's I don't know if it necessarily feels
It's-
lived in, but it does feel active.
It feels
maybe not lived
active,
in.
but I think that's a lot
Yeah.
of because of the shields and the airships. They help make you feel like there's shit happening. But
you see
compare
like
it, yeah.
NPCs walking around too, like usually before Fate starts, or they're walking
Mhm.
to and from certain points, and like it almost kind of makes me wish like normal zones were like this, where you just saw more just active shit going on. The bombardments help too. You're just walking, and all of a sudden a missile falls in your head and you die.
Yeah.
That's funny. I don't know. I really like it a lot.
I think like the stage set, like all the NPCs and stuff is very good. The actual setting
Yeah.
is very boring.
Yeah. There's like no. Well, you said lived in. To me, it's like the opposite. It looks like nothing has ever been here. Like it looks.
I shouldn't say lived in. I should say it's more like it is a war zone. That's like
Yeah.
where shit is happening.
Yeah. I kind of like well, Bosnia makes sense because it's so close to the citadel. It has like a lot of ruins and signs of past life in it. In Zadnor, there's not much at all. There's just gray grounds and craters. That's it. But yeah, because Rollo, if you removed all of the, because we're specifically talking about the design of the zone, not all the added fluff. That's what I mean when I said feels empty, because I feel like the world there's hardly any landmarks in Zadnor. Like it's just the only landmarks are the camps, really. Maybe you'll start remembering where the craters are. Oh, that's that one big crater. That means I'm close.
Yeah, I do. I remember the big crater in the third zone where it's the fuck pit. That's where you go in there to like get all your clusters, because there's like groups of Fourth Legion people in there. So like, guys, get out of the pit.
Yeah.
I will agree with chat. Eureka in general is much nicer looking than
It is.
the Bosnian exploration. What do they call them? What's the term they specifically used?
Oh God, yeah. It's some. God, I don't remember. Some
like the actual system of.
It's if you go to the party finder, you can see what it's categorized as.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good operation.
Foray.
Adventuring foray.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh.
But yeah, Eureka I think is much nicer looking. But I also think that when you look at Hydatos, you can definitely see that their thought pattern of like, this is what works. We will make large, empty, formless zones.
Yeah.
Like it's weird to say Eureka does look better. It's more boring to be in there to actually like.
Well,
because
there's less going on.
Yeah, the system.
That too,
broken.
but I mean, just like you just see some mobs from time to time, really. And I guess Hydatos is cool because you do see the thing in the background.
Yeah, the Baldessian Arsenal.
Yeah, you see that back there, but like, I don't know. I don't particularly like the whole feel of it, you know?
Really?
If that makes sense.
Wow.
Pagos is the worst one, though.
Pagos is the worst.
Like, in terms of everything,
Yeah.
and look, like, feel, it's just all shit.
Everything is the design,
Say that.
the just the atmosphere, the systems, everything's broken in Pagos. Pagos is the worst. Yeah.
I think Pagos is visually a better zone than Pyros.
It has variation. I gotta go with Pyros.
Yeah.
There's the Luigi caves in Pagos.
Yeah,
but
they're cool, but
and I guess there's like the kettle thing or the furnace, which is
the kettle thing.
I don't know. It's all right.
Yeah,
in
I
there,
think
but...
Pagos, and I genuinely don't just, and whenever there's a snow zone, I snore. I hate snow. So for me, we're already starting low if I'm introduced to a snow map, but it's so monotonous. Like there's hardly anything to break up the visual monotony of Pagos's like design. It's just snow. I mean, there's the top left part. I still remember the map vividly. So top left part, there's like less snow, so you see some of the ground, but then there's that gray ground texture, so there's not much really happening up there. Yeah, and
You
I
know, like
think
the sheer
Pyros.
cliffside too, that you just have
Oh,
to remember the path of falling down.
and then
so you
there's
don't die to your death.
there's two different ledges. Remember that, and you have to remember to fall on the right one if you were going to do the boss. And if you land on the wrong one,
Oh,
you're
shit.
fucked.
Such a bad area. God.
I think I like the height of Pagos. I don't like that you cannot fly in Pagos.
No, and that there was only one way up, wasn't there, with the sleeping dragon? So
Yeah.
if you didn't have
Wait for walkers. They're still walking past the dragon.
yeah, you couldn't mount up originally. So you unless what right? No, you had to. You definitely had mount. Sorry, I'm thinking about the Aetherites. The Aetherites had like you unlocked the first one at level like
25?
25.
No, 20 maybe.
You enter at 20, right? No, 15.
Oh, you enter at 20. Yeah, 25 then.
Yeah, 20 and then 25, and then it just jumps to like 27 for the next one. It's like
Yeah.
okay. Anyways, we're talking about Pagos. Let's get back to Zadnor.
It sucks. It's bad. Pagos is bad.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the fates. No, this is gonna be quick.
Skirmishes.
Skirmishes. Not much. I have nothing to really add to that. It's like Bosnia fate skirmishes. I mean, there's more. Nah, I don't know. There's
There's a story behind them. You can,
Yeah.
if you get there early enough, you can see the NPCs talk, and
Yeah.
they do say some like interesting stuff. And they also, after the skirmishes too, you like when you see the the third zone, they do trap one of the captured, like one of the tempered blades.
Yeah.
They fucking just put their hands up to him and teleport him away.
Yeah. Yeah,
And all the ones with Pagaga are so funny.
Yeah.
She's so fucking
Yeah.
funny.
That's true.
Does Pagaga appear in the final zone?
Yes,
I-
in the third
she
zone.
does.
Yes, she's in
Yeah.
the northeastern-ish part, where her griffins come down for that fate, like they do in the
Oh,
second
yeah.
zone.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in the third zone then.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there's more. They have more story to them. I guess. Well, there's story in the Bosnia ones as well, but yeah.
Of course, reading the logs too tells you a lot more about exactly what's going on. Some of the fates too, sort of.
Some of the fates are a little off in terms of scaling. There's been some problems with that.
There's like two of them I can think specifically.
Yeah.
The second area one with the big ass dinosaur.
Thuban.
Yeah, Thuban. Thuban. I see Thuban from afar as I'm walking to it.
Yeah.
Just falls right over every single time. Like, I guess I still haven't done that fate. The third one is the elephant one in the third one.
Yeah.
In the third zone.
Luba. Yeah.
It just. What is it about them?
I don't know.
And it feels like when I'm doing some of those, like I've done the elephant fate once, and it feels like when I'm doing it, this shit takes forever.
I agree.
Yeah.
I did Thuban by myself once, and I was like, "Wow, this is time consuming."
Yeah.
And then like I see one dude doing it. It's just him. He has 10 stacks of the DPS things. He has every single buff known to man.
Yeah.
He just one shots it and walks away.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fates. Hopefully they'll scale those soon because it's
I
really
feel like the skirmishes here have more character than they do in Bosnia
yeah.
overall.
Oh yes, I agree.
It's really cool seeing the Eastern Alliance actually in this too.
Yes.
Seeing like the
Actually,
Roman people.
It's really funny. If I once witnessed a fate, it's in the third zone. I don't remember which NPCs were there, but they were doing the fate alone. And when I saw the NPCs were doing the fate, and they'd been there all alone, and the fate was like almost
Halfway
over.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they can actually do them themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk.
But just quickly, you do get to see some Nagshins, which is like the most Nagshin lore we've had at all so far.
True.
Get their vlogs. That's the Connections are supposed to be kind of Vietnamese inspired ones, right?
Yeah. They're south of Doma.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Critical engagements. How do you feel about those? While I feel like the skirmishes have more to them, critical engagements I feel like are somewhat just the same as Bosnian.
Yeah,
I
possibly
think they're
easier.
easier.
Yeah.
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 I don't have Red for like the Hunt for Red Shocktober, which is I think
Yeah.
still fucking infamous.
Mm.
You still see people just wipe, and you get free reses if you
We
stand near
literally
it, so.
have Hunt for Red Choktober as a skirmish in Zadnor, really. So it's it's a bit disappointing in terms of the critical engagements.
I think the best critical engagements are the ones that have you going up against the what are they called?
Oh yeah, the Belias one is.
The Evilise bosses.
Yeah.
Because they take the mechanics that you had, but then they combine them to make it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, there's Alteroid as well. Appears in one of the critical engagements.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some fun cameos, I guess, in these. But yeah. All right. Now we have to go on to the story. So this is the real spoiler part of the review. So
They pulled a Ysayle again.
yeah,
They
yeah.
did it again.
Well, you wanted to talk about this, Rollo, about the weird patch thing that happened to this.
Yeah, this. Why is the guy writing this like actually insane? And not only it was in the patch notes, like, oh, we lowered the age of these characters.
Yeah.
It was in like the known issues part, as if like.
Like, we're aware that the age is off. It's like, no, I don't. I'm not aware of that.
Like, what? And he's like, yeah, I wrote them, like, I just feel like I wrote them a lot more younger. And it just fucking makes you young. What?
Yeah, so Mikoto was dropped from 29 to 24, I believe. Because apparently she wasn't believable as a 29-year-old.
What was the other character that was made younger too?
They didn't. There was only one that was dropped. The other one was raised.
Yeah,
Okay.
they raised
The
age
other
of
one was Meneni. I think it was Menenius.
Menenius, yeah.
I think he went from 48 to 58. I'm not
Correct.
sure though.
Yeah, no, he definitely went up in age. Yeah,
What? Oh,
which
it's
is
like
it changes.
a
45.
4-year difference.
Yeah, maybe there's like a storyline lore thing that doesn't add up with his age. Maybe with him specifically because of his career in Garlemald.
I would believe that with him.
Yeah.
Makoto makes no sense.
Makoto makes no sense. No. And it's
It's
especially strange considering what happens in the quest. Well, we can mention it now because it literally happens in the beginning of the quest. So Mikoto and Sid. So Mikoto has like a crush on Sid. And that really was really strange after I remembered, they lowered her age for this. So I don't know. That's the only logical conclusion I can get to with why they lowered it.
the thing is, the age gap isn't even that big
No.
for their ages. Sid's 34.
Yeah,
He's
Sid's
not
34.
old.
He's 34, and her being 29 would have been perfectly fine. I mean, it's still perfectly fine at 20, whatever, but
I think they might want to make it less reciprocal.
maybe. But still, so 24, 34, that's not a... I mean, okay, we're...
It's not
getting
big enough
there,
to
but
be a problem.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe. So what age is in chat? For Moonbrita, because Moonbrita was
Oh.
29?
Okay.
Moonbrita was like the same age as Oriange, which I think is 28 or 29.
Okay.
Still insane. Still, the reasoning he gave behind it, bizarre.
Sid's note says he's 24, not 34.
That's not correct.
That is incorrect.
Sid is 34.
Yeah. Sid is 34, Oriange is 29. Yeah, okay. So it's Moonbrita. Yeah, she was Moonbrita's apprentice. So it's weird for the apprentice to be the same age. What was it, Moonbrita?
Age, yeah.
29?
She's 29, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that, okay.
That makes sense.
That makes
Not
sense
the
then.
part where it's like... She talks young.
No. So she has a thing with Sid. We're preparing for the final push to get the Imperials out of Bosnia for good. The final the one thing in the way is the Dalriada, which is the flagship of this of the Fourth Legion. So Mikoto gets a vision while we're preparing, because we need to we essentially have to set up like these shield generator things for as we push forward, so that we can have bases that are protected from the air, because we're constantly being barraged by airships. So we need to protect our bases. While we're preparing for this, Mikoto gets one of her echo flash forwards, and she sees herself fall off the ship, protecting the ship she's on. It really shows that design flaw of those airships that I keep bringing up. Like, first of all, why are there no seats on this airship, and why don't you have railings? Like, what the fuck? Imagine how many people have fallen off these airships in history in Eorzea.
Yeah.
See, sometimes it feels like they show them having their own like gravity field, in the sense that like they're going at like diagonals or even like vertically, and people are still just like magnetized to the ground. But yet sometimes this happens.
I just don't buy the airship design in 14. I'm sorry, I just don't. There's these passenger airships that just wide open, not a seat in sight, and there's no barrier or anything. You just stand there.
Every single bug will hit your face as a passenger. every stork will just hit you. Every seagull will go into the propeller.
Why? This is like a legit question that I want to ask whoever was behind. I know that this is a 1.0 sin because it was designed in 1.0, but why is there no lower deck like an actual airship would have? This is like an airboat. There is no deck.
I think they do have lower decks. We just never go there.
How do you get
to
them? Have you ever seen an
physically
entrance?
Possible.
There is no way for you to get below decks on an airship.
Like, with how tall they are, it doesn't seem possible for someone to fit in there.
No, it's just like an empty. I don't know what would be down there. It's very odd.
Just incorporate a closed design into your next airship. Sid, come on.
11, I think, fixed that by having, an actual door on the side of the ship that you enter, right? You enter through the actual part of the ship that's the ship. You don't enter at the top. It's very odd. I'm talking specifically about the passenger ones, the ones that you use to travel between city-states. I don't know. There are different variations of designs. Obviously, we know that there has to be a way to get down into like the bottom of the ship to get to the engines, but that's about all you can fit in those ships below deck. There cannot be any other passenger areas down there. Anyways, so she falls off the ship. So she's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. And you've seen it as well, and she's like, we get to use this emote a lot in this story. So we don't want to. She doesn't want us to tell anyone because this is going to happen anyways. You can't really, with her echo, you can't actually change the outcome. So it's happening regardless. So let's just do what we can to finish this. There's also a point where you talk to I always call him Bajs, which is Swedish for poo. So I don't remember his...
Balsalian.
Yeah, that guy. We talked to him, and he asks what we should do with Misia.
Yeah, he asks your opinion.
Yeah, when we get her. And you can...
Is that the choice thing that matters?
I don't know, because
I struggle to think where exactly.
I think so. From what we've learned, it does affect the final outcome. We'll get to that, but you can choose.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
You can choose. You should kill her, or it's not for me to decide. And what's the third one?
The third one is you shouldn't blame her. You should blame her superiors. You should blame Menenius and Noah.
Okay. You pick whatever you pick there. I picked because I kind of had a feeling the others would pick, the one you would morally want to pick, which is, not kill her. I chose kill her just because I wanted to know. So, anyways, we decide that we want to disable the Dalriada with what's essentially an EMP, a ceruleum EMP, right? So that's our plan.
A lot of fucking mumbo jumbo at you about this stuff.
Yes.
Install the dam. Make sure the ether fluctuation is at this very moment ready to explain.
Yeah.
Just do it. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So we you progress through the zones. You set up the shields. You work your way up to the final part, and it is time for the attack.
Yes.
The plan is executed, and the moment we expected happens. There's an airship crashing. The EMP explodes. The Dalriada gets fucked, and all other airships around there also gets hit by this EMP. So they start falling, and then one of the airships falls towards their airship. Mikoto does the shield. It hits the shield, throws her out. But here's the twist. To her rescue, Fran, and we get the most obvious ass shot of Fran I have ever seen. And I could just hear Mela scream. Like, I didn't actually hear him. But apparently he didn't. But I know he's going to go back and scream when he sees it.
He'll definitely go back.
That's his wallpaper right now.
He was too distracted by the fact that he thinks the bike looks really, really dumb.
Yeah, he does think the bike looks dumb.
Blame 12 for that. That's not 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still distracted him from what he would normally be paying attention to.
Yeah, that's a testament to how annoyed he was, Rollo. He didn't see the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say in general, Fran sticks out like a sore thumb so much in these cutscenes. Her design is cool, looks great. Just seeing her with some of these like other NPCs. Yeah. She's very tall. She's not wearing a lot of clothing, and sometimes there's sad things happening, and she's just kind of there almost naked.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So Mikoto is saved by Fran. I was mostly sad when I saw the bike, because I'm like, Valthiers is not in that seat, is he? So that was disappointing. Right. So Mikoto is saved by Fran. Lilia gets fucked because now, what happened again with her?
Explosion.
There was just a random explosion.
I think it was.
Because the Garleans are routed towards us because we shoot up a flare, they see it, and they all come towards us. She got hit with a bomb thing. Oh, there was just an explosion. She was injured.
Yeah, she said she has like shrapnel in her stomach after, which is like...
Yeah. But she activates. Is she the one who activates the EMP?
Yes. She slaps the button.
Right. She slaps the button. EMP goes off.
I feel like we've seen that animation before. This is
we probably have.
We've seen like the crawling animation. Not the button press one.
No.
But the crawling one.
Possibly. Familiar. Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We've done it. We've set the stage. It's time for the Dalriada. We need to go through this Yeah?
Don't they show off Nostalgia or whatever? Mesita? Getting the Queen's Blade right before we start.
The Queen's Blade teleports itself to Missia, and then we see her teleport out of the prison cell.
Right, she teleports out of the prison cell. Yeah, true. Okay, so now it's time for the Dalriada. We have to be a little we need to speed up a little bit. So we can talk about the bosses quickly. I say the bosses are really good in this raid. They all feel very different and unique, and they're not. At no point did I feel like this battle was going on too long. I tend to get really. I hate bosses that you can tell when they're repeating. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be this for the next 40% HP, right? But didn't get that with any of these. It's also a really quick raid.
Yes.
Maybe it's because of people's damaging boost now. It's gonna keep going quicker and quicker as people just getting higher and higher stats.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like it takes that long.
No. We did our first run. We were top.
Yes.
What's top like? I haven't seen it before.
It's a battle against
not Cthulhu. You know, it's the Cthulhu one, right? Isn't that the one?
No, it's not. That's not Cuchulainn.
Oh, that's after, isn't it?
Cuchulainn. Yeah, that's the second boss. It's Sartavois.
Sartavois, that's his name. Sorry.
Oh, that's that one black mage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one black mage.
Okay.
He sort of does some like vampiric things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys done the bottom one yet?
No.
Okay.
What happens in the bottom one?
It's like a boss rush. You get those people that sacrifice themselves to summon like bosses in during seas and stuff. It's like a couple of them, so they go through them pretty quickly.
Okay.
You get like serpents and birds like from that one CE. It's pretty cool. It goes by pretty quick, and it's fun and active.
All right. We don't really have time to talk about each individual boss, but they're really good. They don't feel out of place. They feel like
Cuchulainn's is fun. You get to turn into a fubar.
Yeah.
Laser hallway. It's the hardest boss.
Laser hallway is very fun.
Going in there for the first time, and someone's just shouting in the chat. Left, right, left.
Yeah, it was
what's
so
happening?
Confusing.
I'm just getting pushed back.
Yeah.
The Menenius and Lion fight. Menenius just fucking spinning.
Yeah.
Absolute bro moment between these two.
Yeah.
These characters were very, very close, apparently.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were gonna be yeah, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this together.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But
and then we come to the final boss.
Yes.
Which is
Diablo
interesting.
Armament. Well, it starts with a fake out, obviously. There's that Gundam or whatever, that robot-looking thing in the guarding the Diablo armament, which of course dies very quickly. Not even worth mentioning, really.
That's Menenius.
Isn't that Menenius?
Well, that's Menenius, yeah. But that's not him. He's in it.
Well, yeah,
he's in it.
Yeah, it's technically he's in a Gundam. So the Diablo armament. What a boss.
Out of left field.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did not expect a evil Ultima weapon. Or I don't know, alter Ultima weapon.
And apparently more powerful than the Ultima weapon, because was it Lion or Menenius who said that shouldn't be possible? Not even the Ultimate weapon would be able to break out of that. So
because it has like the same restraints that Tiamat had. Apparently.
Yeah.
And
so it breaks out, and it is it has a lot going on in it. Got a really cool theme. Which is like a remix of like multiple.
It borrows from the Diablo's boss theme, borrows from the Gangos theme. I think there's one or two other songs in there.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what it looks like. The fight itself, crazy. Lots of things to dodge.
Have you seen the flavor text during the fight? It seems like it doesn't like the floating text. I mean, like when you're fighting it.
I might have seen a couple of them, but
there's like oh, what's wrong? What's going on with me? Like kind of stuff. And so it's like, I don't think he likes being Diablo's Ultima.
Yeah.
I don't think he likes that.
No. So we destroy the armament. There's a moment where Menenius well, Lion is about to get hit because the armament just like freaks out and starts firing off lasers everywhere, and it's about to hit Lion. And Menenius steps forward, protects him. It hits Menenius. It's obvious that he dies, and then not so obvious that Lion dies. So we'll get back to that in a second. So there's that whole thing. It collapses. But
flies up into the air.
Yeah, the
It's
weapon
gonna destroy everyone.
The weapon is about to fucking annihilate everyone. So the Misha summons the queen. She appears. She's like, "Whoa!" And then
She summons her lovely throne.
yeah,
Stupid fucking chair. I hate that thing. It ruined such a cool design.
she destroys the weapon. Okay, and then here is sort of where the story gets different depending on what you've picked and what you're about to pick. So she's on the ground, wounded, gravely wounded, and she has the blood out of the mouth. Which to me is like a sign. To me, that was the biggest thing. I'm like, oh, she's got blood around her mouth. No one in 14 survives blood around the mouth, do they?
No,
so,
we barely survived the white stuff coming out.
Right. Oh, the healer shakes his head. Really? Is that okay? That's a nice detail.
That's how you know it's like
like,
and then
there's nothing.
you walk up to him, he's like,
"There's nothing I can do here. No cure can bring this person back." Okay, so you can now choose. So she's like, there is no reason for me to live. Like, I'm a traitor. I have done this. I've done that. I am a shitty person. I want to die. So you're being given a knife by me. I think she gives it to you, right?
Just drops it.
Yeah, she hands it to you.
Yeah. And now you can choose between granting her wish or not doing that. I don't remember what the text is.
Let her leave her be.
Leave her be.
Yeah,
I
leave
think
her
is the
be, something like.
So these two options will play out differently based on what you picked in the first quest. So for me, who said let her die, or sorry, kill her, and then I chose grant her wish. This took forever for me to pick, by the way, because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not what my character would do. Like, I wouldn't, because I stood there with the knife in hand, and I'm like, there's no way Luke Heel would kill her. But then I thought, yeah, but there's also no way the game will let my character kill her. That's what so I'm like, okay, I'll give her wish, but I'm sure something else will happen. So if you do that, picked my path, she dies after you say, I will do it. She's like, thank you. And then she just dies before anyone does anything. So that is the good ending, different. People say. Good ending is that one where she's like, okay, I got my wish granted, and then she just dies, right? No one had to kill anyone. She just peacefully faded off, thinking you were granting her wish.
Yeah, we got. I think me and Gyuri got something very.
Yeah, you got very different things. So Georgi, on the first quest,
I said to blame Gabranth and Menenius, and then when I was given the choice, I said I will not do it. And I think regardless of my choice there, I think Balsalian would have done the same thing. He like puts his arm in front of me and says, it's not you, this is not your decision to make. And then he slices her throat for her.
Yeah, that happened to me. I picked the same option you did for the first one, and then for the second one, I said I was going to kill him.
Okay, and he did the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if those are the only two possible outcomes then. It was really.
There's still the third option that none of us have picked. So
yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Kind of a really dark scene almost. I mean, it was sad.
Yeah.
I
think the fact that he killed her was very dark. I was shocked when I thought I was going to get the bad ending because I had picked like kill her at the beginning. But then all the, the context changed in the last scene and I'm like, this is going to be a dark ending, but it wasn't.
Yeah. And then like you see him put the knife to her throat. As he's about, I mean, the camera cuts away, obviously.
Yeah.
And you hear like a very slight cutting noise.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh fuck, that's cool. I like that.
I mean, she was going to die regardless.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with, obviously suffering. Maybe you just call her,
Yeah.
even if you like her or don't.
But in my
you can
ending,
let her
she
suffer.
died so quickly. She's like, yeah, there was no time for him to kill her there. It's
So-
like, oh,
So you said that, well, like before she died, that she like had a lot of like regrets. She's like, oh, everyone hated me or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And I was evil. She doesn't really say that exactly. I think if you say like that, not to, I mean to spare her. She did
Really?
something a little bit different, didn't she, Gary?
I don't remember.
oh, is
I-
that
I
part
I remembered what
different as well?
Lakil said to me.
I
Oh.
think she talks more about like wanting to protect everybody or something like along those lines.
Oh, she
Maybe
does
I
say those
misremembered.
things, yeah.
Yeah,
Does she? Oh, okay.
yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, that happens. She's gone. Bosnia is free. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
You sailed too.
yeah.
That's all it took.
Yes. Now, there's another scene at the end where Lion and Gabranth.
Can we, before we quickly move on to that, we do get a nice very quick conclusion of Sid looking at. We see what's in his locket, which is a picture of him and his father.
Yeah, there's a big party in Gangos, and yeah, we get to see. Well, first of all, we learn that what he has around his neck is a locket, and in the locket is a picture of him and his father.
That's cute.
Yeah, that's cute. Oh yeah, and also we get to see Geralt very, very drunk.
His
So
debts to the house.
yeah.
His debts to the house only increase.
Yeah, yeah. So, there was also an interesting point where because they're now drafting up, because believe it or not, guys, we brought democracy to Bosnia. So they're drafting up a new constitution, but
Yeah, we
they're
destroyed the caste system.
yeah.
It's a very weird line
Yeah.
about the Constitution.
So he's like, okay, we're making a new constitution, but we're basing it on the imperial one.
We're
Which,
basing it on. They said that it will take. They will take parts from the imperial
yeah,
one.
they will take yeah. Yeah.
It's based specifically on like the Fourth Legion one.
Yeah, the Fourth Legion's if they had a constitution or whatever their rules.
Which is like a weird way of saying that maybe people should be equal.
Yeah.
Like, what a roundabout. You could just be like, you know what? Maybe people should be like on the same playing field and like nice to each other.
Yeah.
And not a caste system.
Yeah. So that was that. Next, there's a scene with Gabranth and Lion in Dalmasca. And Gabranth is like, he's saying, or he's alluding to the fact that shit's not great right now for him after the defeat at Bosnia. And Lion is like, I think Lion's having this like weird, it's like, oh, why don't you appreciate Menenius more because he died for you or whatever? And he's like, okay, but people die all the time here. There's, you know.
Again, did not expect this really deep relationship between Menenius and
No.
I mean, it's cool. I
Yeah.
like it. It's just they're a bunch of grandpas
Yeah.
just hanging out.
Yeah. Then it's sort of they bring out the artifacts that they found in the ruins.
An axe and a sword.
An axe and a sword, and then it fades out. And then it just goes on to like this artwork screen, and it says, you know, Blades of Gunhildr, chapter the 4. And then it fades out. End of story,
Oh yeah,
right?
and Gabranth also says, "Well, you failed, so
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ceremonially put you in jail." Lion.
Yes, right. That's what he said, yeah. But then, field notes.
I'll tell you something very different.
When I read I read the field notes immediately after the story, like on stream, and I just thought, okay, there's just going to be some backstory about Gabranth. Then as I keep reading, I'm like, wait, this is current. But
Yeah.
they killed Gabranth off screen. There's this whole thing that happened where Lion got out of prison somehow, and
with some co-conspirators, they were like, Gabranth is a loser.
Yeah,
we can't follow him anymore.
Right. And then they, killed Gabranth in his sleep or whatever.
No, not in his sleep. Lion wakes him.
Oh, wakes
They have
him.
a discussion, then he kills him.
That's how it went, yeah. And they burned the whole camp down or whatever, the whole place down, and
no evidence.
They couldn't identify his body because it was so charred and burnt. So there's this theory then that Gabranth isn't actually dead. That he's and when I read that, I'm like, okay, so he's not dead really. He's gonna reappear. But it was shocking to read it because I'm like, oh god, are they literally just concluding the story in the field notes? That's how we're gonna end the story. But it definitely leaves shit open for the don't believe
Don't
Ondor's.
believe Ondor's lies.
Yeah, I feel like
Now imagine this. When Noah comes back, for whatever reason, he'll use the name of his father, so that we just have a bash in this. Bash in this game.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's a clever way.
Because they're like, I'm not the same person.
Yeah.
I've taken my dad's name, not my twin brother, my dad.
Yeah. So there's a lot of setup for that part of the story. I don't think that's done. Then if you read Fran's field notes, Fran's a badass. She's like
Fran
literally
has, like,
secret police / royal guard shit. Like really strange to read about. Like she was literally a cop. So she was tasked. I would say, secret police is probably a better description of what she did. She was assigned to protect the royal family, but also just Dalmasca, like just police as well. And when the Garleans were on their doorstep, her twin brother, Wrestler. For some reason, her twin brother here. Sorry, Ash. Sorry, I should mention Ashelia, the princess, Ash. Her twin brother is like, okay, you will pretend to kill. Oh God, how was this? This was very complicated.
So it is complicated. So he's like, okay, so the people of Dalmasca will keep fighting as long as they think one of the royal line is still alive.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pretend that we're gonna assassinate Ash, but don't worry, she'll run off somewhere.
Yeah.
And then when the Garleans come, they'll actually kill me.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna pretend to kill me. I'm just gonna die.
Yeah.
And then the people of Dalmasca will lose all hope, but they won't keep getting themselves killed by trying to fight an unwinnable war.
Right.
What a roundabout fucking plan this is.
And I'm so, it's such a stupid plan, because if you want to save the royal line, why don't you bring both? Why would you be like, no, I'll die? It's like, no, but why? But why? We can do the same thing with you.
In 12, and he has to die here.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, okay, we've fucked up the story so much in 14 anyways. Like, we've changed them. Like, relationships are completely different. Wrestler still has to die, though. He still has to be dead. Yeah, so I thought that was very odd. But they got the princess out. So there's that.
Ash is out there somewhere.
So Ash is out there. Do you think will have, if she returns, she'll have the ghost apparition of Wrestler again, and it's going to be really awkward because they're actually brother and sister now, so it's not going to have the same effect. That would be very odd. You know what? I don't think they're going to talk about Wrestler at all. I think they did Wrestler dirty in 14.
Their integration of the Ivalice world into 14 is like a little fucking bonkers sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Even as someone who doesn't know that much about it, like I know more about tactics than I do like 12, but it's still fucking weird.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's weird. So let's count the characters that have crossed over from 12 to 14 in some way. So we've got Fran,
Mhm.
we've got Noah,
Yeah.
we've got two deceased characters in Bash,
Mhm.
who is Noah's father,
father here, yeah.
and Wrestler, who is Ash's twin.
Mm.
And then we also
Oh,
we
yeah.
also have Mont Blanc.
Mont Blanc. Yeah. Mont Blanc, who, oh god, that just reminds me that I'm sad we didn't get the 12 Mughals. They're just normal.
Oh yeah,
Mughals.
we have Bagumnan
yeah.
and Boagi and all of them who, instead of being like thieves or like working for the Empire, they're the Royal Guard.
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of appreciate it, just like being like such a like remixed like what if kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's still just really weird knowing even just a little bit about these characters, like in their original setting.
Yeah. You kind of have to just leave your 12 like hat off when you play 14. This isn't 12. It is just loosely referencing Evilise. But that's why I know people will say that all the time, but it's so difficult to do that when they sometimes just do crazy Evilise shit. Like they're like, this is just Evilise. Like this isolated, this is Evilise. But then there's like, oh, but here's Ash and her twin brother. It's like, okay. It's pulling constantly like pushing you into Evilise and ripping you out. It's a little confusing.
I mean, one good thing about our version of Evilise is that Vaughn and Pinello just don't exist.
True. Careful.
All
careful.
that was left was their clothes.
Don't give them any idea. Don't give Woolhead any ideas. I don't want to see them in this game.
The only 12 character I still want is Balthier.
Yeah. I was so sad when he wasn't.
Someone said in chat earlier, but apparently, like the bike has a quote from him being leading.
It does.
Oh yeah.
When you mouse over the mount, it will mention his leading man line.
Okay.
That's the quote for the mount, I believe.
So there's hope. Maybe in the future. There's definitely going to be more Dalmasca story coming up.
Yes.
For sure.
Will it be tied to a relic again? Who knows? Maybe it'll be its own thing, an Endwalker.
But remember that when we talked about the IGN interview, remember how he's still debating whether we're gonna have patch length stories or expansion length stories, like after the main expansion. If we're getting patch style stories like in 11. They could have like a Dalmasca patch where there's just Dalmasca story where we do all the Dalmasca MSQ, all the MSQs just about Dalmasca. Maybe that's a good time to bring in Balthier.
But then it has to be the weird thing about the Bosnia storyline and the Evilise storyline is that a lot of it is now locked behind a relic quest, which is not short.
It's just barely part of the relic quest.
I will say
the relic's actually irrelevant, but the whole storyline of going through Bosnia and Zadnor is you have to rank up 25 levels.
But so if you isolate that, Bosnia is mostly about Bosnia. Dalmasca is very, very tiny part of this. Like Dalmasca, like the outer areas of Dalmasca don't really touch. Fran shows up in the last quest of Zadnor. Like, and we hardly ever see Gabranth. He's just mentioned in the early parts of the story for Bosnia. I think you can ignore it and still continue on with maybe do some sort of like recap.
Lion's existence is weird though.
I know. Lion, he's going to be...
That can be explained pretty shortly.
They can do like a quick recap thing or something in the quest. I don't know. Remember, we're going into an unknown future. I don't know how the story patches are going to work for going after Endwalker. So they might do like an easy recap that works for both people that have played Bosnia and people that haven't. I don't know. I just don't know how else they're going to do the Dalmasca stuff in the future.
Hey, random question.
Yeah.
But do you feel like with what was the Vieira's name? Lilia?
Lilia.
Lilia. Were they going for like a Kogal, Yaru kind of thing.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
They were? Okay, that's...
I definitely think they were.
Did you think it was funny when she took off her glasses? Because I thought that was funny. She's like, serious time. Taking off the glasses. We're going to have a
It's
serious
Oh, I mean,
conversation.
I like when she...
Yeah. Go on.
Sorry, Rollo?
No, it's just like she has like beautiful blue eyes, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, she's got big eyes. Yeah.
I mean, I will say she looks much better without a glass.
Yes, she does.
I think she's just a funny fucking character. I'm so glad they have her.
She is a funny character.
You know what? I would have liked her 100% more if she didn't wear the glasses. The glasses has always been the problem for me.
I like that the glasses are a part of her character.
Yeah,
I think I like Lilia.
She's grown on me in the last quest. She did better for me. Yeah.
I think it's funny that some people just absolutely fucking despise her.
Oh,
too.
Rollo,
Like,
I've been one of those. I'm like this character with the stupid glasses, fangirling every time.
And it's cute. She's like, oh my gosh, you said I did a good job. Thank you. And she's like 19.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's Zadnor. Let's quickly compare Zadnor to Bosnia. Which one do you prefer?
Zadnor.
I would say Zadnor, yeah.
I would also say Zadnor.
Even this stuff like aerial bombardments, just I like it. You see like the shadows of the ship flying overhead.
Yeah.
And you look up, you're like, oh shit.
The overall quality of Zadnor, I think, is higher than Bosnia.
The only thing I would take from Bosnia maybe would be some better CEs.
Yes.
Okay.
They're a little bit lacking. Okay.
Compared to Eureka, though. Now that's done. What do you think?
I mean, I finished this compared to Eureka, so I think I have to say I prefer this.
Yes. But what do you think, Lucio? Because we both did Eureka.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like there is less pain doing Bosnia than Eureka, but I think they're so different in terms of what they are. Like with Eureka, I felt like we were more of a community suffering together. In Bosnia,
Terrible.
yeah, I know, but it's like, don't you remember how people were like in chat, like shout chat?
Yeah,
it was
long
way more
live the
involved.
train. The train
long live
lived.
the train. There were like long discussions because people were so bored, like waiting for fates to pop, and they were like discussions about like existential shit, and I was like, okay, wow, I've been up too late for this.
Well,
I don't know, and I liked the zones of Eureka. I felt like there was more going on in them, like visually.
You got half the zones compared to Eureka too. If we should
Right.
compare that. Like, that's a lot less map.
But I would be lying if I said that I preferred Eureka over Bosnia because I don't. Yeah, Bosnia is better.
I think Bosnia is just better content, and the reason a nice community developed in Eureka is because it was a group coping mechanism to deal with the fact that you were all in Eureka.
But there's also
That's so sad because you're so right.
Yeah, it's true. Eureka was like an experience that will go down in like 14 history. Like the people that survived Eureka will carry that badge and be like, yeah, I was there. It sucked. And then Bosnia is going to be possibly a footnote. It's going to be one of many like types of content like that. It's going to be like, yeah, that was the thing that happened. Eureka's what started it, right? So yeah, it'll have a piece of my heart just because of that, but it's not great.
How dare you? Diadem started it.
Sorry, what? What content? I don't think that's a thing. I think that's a different game.
I think if you look under Adventuring 4A, you will find that it begins with the diadem.
That's true. The diet. Fuck the diet.
Oh, Lost Actions, by the way, fucking amazing. You get it from the start, and you get busted fucking actions super quick compared to the
logos,
what were they called?
Logos.
The logos actions.
Logograms.
They're easier to get to, is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They made it easier to get it in Eureka at the end, but I don't think we were playing at that point. But yeah, they increased the drop rate. I think you can get them really easily now, but still, yeah, I prefer them.
Yeah, and with Zadnor, we've got even more overpowered ones. It's fun to use them.
Sorry, I just have to say this. This was mentioned in chat. We haven't mentioned this. You can help low-level players without being punished.
Yes.
Yes.
That was the Achilles heel for me for Eureka. Is that if I like Rollo and I, we were leveling pretty much together in Hydatos and Pyros. And
I remember that summer. I drank so much.
yes. But when we tried to get Mela through, we couldn't because we couldn't be in a party. So Mela had to struggle on alone or be in a different party. And they never changed it. They never changed it.
There is no benefit for a high-level player to help a low-level one.
Right.
Aside from just like getting your friend up to help you. Like in Bosnia, it's like, oh, you see this dude hitting a mob? All right, let me slap it real quick. Maybe I'll help him out and get like an action, or I'll get like a cluster. Like the community sense of that part is a little bit better, actually. I'll say. Because remember in fucking Eureka, you're like, don't fucking go near the kettle. My party's near the kettle, the oven right now. We're fucking farming shit or lights, so don't fucking come near us.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, there you go. I don't think it's much of a hot take to say that Bosnia is better than Eureka. Yeah. There's gonna be some people that are like, actually, but fuck you. Right, so we have to fit a MogMail in. God, okay, that's gonna be a quick post show, but let's jump into MogMail. Let's read one.
Okay.
This one is from Uzora Akari. I hope we didn't read this last time. From Goblin. So I've had a thought recently. After Eden wrapped up alongside the Void Quest, it almost seems like there will be some kind of quest line in the future about restoring the 13th Shard using what we've learned from restoring the Empty. But, oh yeah, this is why I brought it up. But what about the Burn? It suffered a similar fate as the first, with all of its ether being drained and becoming devoid of life. I have no idea what they would do with it, but it just felt like something they might do as maybe a smaller scale experiment to see if their efforts to restore a destroyed land might be successful outside of the Empty. It was just a weird thought I had while fishing, because there's nothing else to do. Thanks again for all the great content. So... Oh, sorry. Spoilers over, by the way. You don't get the bonk. You don't get the satisfaction of the bonk. Yes, so I've been very interested in the Burn recently because of the moon. Because of the moon. The Burn looks the way it does because it's been drained of all life. The Burn kind of looks like the moon in terms of like color and the ground texture. I think this is part of a much bigger discussion that we cannot have today, but there's a lot of theories about why we're going to the moon and the stuff that we've seen on the moon. I know there's talk about the void here in this as well, but I feel like the Burn thing is more relevant because I've obsessed about it a lot recently. Is that Zodiark might be in the moon, right? Or like how Hydaelyn is in Hydaelyn. Could the moon have had life on it and then been drained, and that's why Zodiark is gone? And is that why there's stuff on the moon? Okay, I'm all over the place. Why does the Burn look like moon? Is my question.
I guess because when there's just no ether, that's just how shit turns too.
So the moon has no
white
ether.
Sand.
So the moon is like out of ether.
It could have very possibly never had ether.
Possible, yeah. But so Zodiark is let's.
And that might have been why Zodiac was locked there.
Yeah. So the question, the MogMail says, after Eden wrapped up alongside the Void Quest, it almost seems like there will be some kind of quest line in the future about restoring the 13th Shard using what we've learned from restoring the Empty. We restored the Empty as well. The Empty was kind of similar. It was this like white, moonish, dead terrain, and then we just restored it. And then what we've found on the moon, possibly from the dungeon previews, is some sort of like archive of biomes, possibly from the ancient world, that's stored on the moon. Could it?
You think that dungeon is on the moon?
No, I don't know. I'm just assuming. I don't actually know. No idea where it is. If it is on the moon, it doesn't have to be on the moon. It could be on Hydaelyn, but maybe the plan
So
was.
I think it's in Labyrinthos.
But where do you think Labyrinthos is?
I don't think it's on the moon.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know where it could be, but it could be on the moon. Could be if it was on the moon, then the Sharlayans must have a way to get to the moon.
Yes.
Maybe that's how we get to the moon.
They have the space. They have an airship that's actually enclosed, so they can they did it right.
I don't know. It's an interesting parallel, I think. If you go look at the burn and the empty, like before, well, it's hard to go back to the empty if you've done Eden, but like the way it looked before, it's kind of similar to Moon Landscape. What? God,
the moon does have.
Yeah, go on.
The moon does have some living things, though. Chat brought this up. There's the cave full of like mushrooms and stuff.
That's true.
The burn did too.
And there has...
Yeah.
That is true. And there has to be enough to sustain the naming ways.
It doesn't have to be devoid of it. It could... Oh, and also you see it in caves. So
Hemingways?
I don't remember what they were called. No, they're called something completely different here. They're called like...
Moonanites.
Yeah, something. I don't remember. Yeah,
Leporites.
Yeah, Leporites. It doesn't have to be devoid of ether. Remember, if the thing that I've been struggling a lot with trying to figure out how Zodiark can be tied to the moon. Like, what does it mean that he's tied to the moon? Is there an ethereal sea inside the moon that is completely dead, where Zodiark is just sleeping? Remember, we have that one vision of that purple crystal floating in a dark void. I'm trying to imagine if that's inside the moon, then that could explain why the moon looks the way it does, and maybe there's a little bit of ether, just enough to like keep him alive, and that's why there's still a little bit of life left on them somewhere, like on the inside of the moon, like in the caves and shit. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But then I'm afraid of thinking about that because they retcon shit a lot, so this might not be a theory at all. This might be completely unrelated.
If they wanted to retcon that, they would have removed it from the A Realm Reborn story when they did the revamp.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think it's still there. So I think it's still relevant.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how the Void plays. Elder 13th will play into the story going forward. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
The final zone is the Void.
Maybe, possible. That would be very hype if we got to go to the 13th, to the Void.
We keep talking about the Void. Bozja just talked about the Diablos.
Yeah.
The Diablos Ultima thing.
Yeah.
So they want you to at least keep remembering it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we concluded anything here, but that was that was a bit all over the place. I got to talk about the moon for a little bit.
I don't know if we have enough time to conclude anything.
I
think this is a very broad topic.
Like I said, this is actually a much bigger discussion that we can't have right now. Right. That's it. Thank you, Azorakari. I can guarantee you that we will have a bigger discussion about this down the road. So don't worry. All right, that's it for the main show. Thank you guys for watching. We'll go into post-show after this, so make sure you catch that as well. Remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, Twitch.tv/Speakers of Hydaelyn, YouTube.com/SpeakersXIV, Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, links in the description. Remember to send us MogMail, SpeakersXIV.com/MogMail. And that's it. Remember, if you're watching live, we're about to go into the post show. See you there. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.